Okay, welcome to page 2 for the Algebra Chapter 5 test review. We're going to do problems, all of page 2, 9 through 13, I think it is. So number 9, we have a couple of functions and we're subtracting them. So f minus g of x is f of x minus g of x. When you subtract, just be careful with your signs. So f of x is 2x plus 4. We're subtracting g of x, which is the quantity 5x minus 2. So you need to remember to distribute that minus. 2x minus 5x is negative 3x, and 4 plus 2 is 6. And there you go. Now, the domain of both these functions is all real numbers, so the domain is all real numbers, even though it didn't ask. I know we've been talking about it. Speaking of domain, on number 10, these are square roots, right? Because x is to the 1/2. So x to the 1/2 is the same thing as the square root of x. You can't take the square root of a negative number. So the domain of this, because of that, is going to be x is greater than or equal to 0. That's for this number 10. I didn't ask the domain here, but I just wanted to make sure you saw that because we talked about it. But now let's do the problem. This means f times g of x, so we have f of x times g of x. F of x is 3x to the 1/2 times g of x is 10x to the 1/2. So it's all multiplication, just multiply what you can. 3 times 10 is 30. X to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2. They're the same base, so you remember to just add the exponents. 1/2 plus 1/2. Since 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, this is 30x to the first. The domain being this. Next problem. We have f plus g of 2 this time. So be very careful. This is not an x anymore. It's a 2. So when you do, this would mean f of 2 plus g of 2. So instead of writing f of x with all the x's, you write f of x with all the 2's instead. Same thing with g. So f of 2 is 2 squared plus 3 times 2 plus 1, and then plus g of 2 is 2 times 2 squared minus 3. So we're going to carefully multiply all this out. 4 plus 6 plus 1 plus 2 times 4 minus 3. I got rid of my parentheses because I don't need them. If I were if this were a minus up here, then it would be important that I kept them. So I have 4 plus 6 plus 1, which is 11, plus 2 times 4, 8, minus 3. So this is 11 plus 8, which is 19, minus 3, which is 16. Now it's easy to check this on your calculator. You can just go to the y equals screen, type these functions in, and do this on the calculated screen. That's as a reminder. There's going to be a separate video that I'm going to show you how to check a couple of these problems. That's going to be one of them. So if you want to see the details or just be reminded of the details on how to check this number 11, just look out for that video. So we have a couple more to go. These are inverse questions, which are hopefully pretty easy. If you want to determine the inverse, start out like this. We're going to undo this using our reverse order of operations. So we're going to subtract 5 first to get rid of that plus 5. And then we're going to divide by 6 second. It's important that you do that to the entire side. I'll show you here. So come back over to this f of negative 1x equals x. We're going to subtract 5. So I did that. Now we're going to divide by 6. Just make sure whenever you do these inverses that you divide everything by 6. It's easier to show that. Just put a big line and then the 6 under the big line. That big line has a name, but I forget what it's called. So that's that. 13, same thing, except we have a little cube. So again, you have to just remember, follow the reverse order of operations. So I'm going to start this problem like I start all inverse problems. Throw this x out here. That's where you start. So reverse order of operations say you should get rid of the minus 12. So the first thing I'm going to do is add 12. The second thing, you have this 4 times x cubed. So take care of the times, the multiplication first. So divide 4 next. And then you'll just have an x cubed left over because you got rid of the minus 12 and you get rid of the times 4. And the inverse of cubing, because it says x cubed, is cube rooting. So I'm going to do these 3 things to this x. To this side, I should say. So the first thing is I'm going to do is plus 12. The next thing is divide by 4. Remember, divide everything by 4. And the last thing I'm going to do is to cube root. Remember, cube root everything. So that cube root has to be around the entire side. And there is also a way to check these, remember, on the calculator. And as I said, I'll show that in a separate video. So that's page 2 and page 3, and the check will be next.